Welcome to Bet On It, the NFL edition. It is week 10 and time is flying by. Let's bring in Marco and VR, my two guys, to keep us cashing tickets. It's been a really fun run, even though my best bet did lose last week, still had a 2-1 week. That being said, I like way too many games this week. Last week I was very disciplined. This week, not so much. And both primetime games are in contention for bets for me. Let's start with Thursday night. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. Baltimore at Miami. Baltimore, 7.5-point favorite. It looks like a perfect teaser spot here. I'm not sure what to make of this Miami team. We know Tua still hurt. Jacoby Brissett looked serviceable last week. What are your thoughts on Thursday night here?
Yeah, this is a game that you said it right out of the start. Looks like a teaser possibility. That's the only way I can look at this one. Baltimore, on paper, they really should blow out this Miami team. But if you watched Baltimore last week, and I'm still trying to figure out how this game was 31-31 and gone into overtime and then went the entire overtime frame and they kicked the game-winning field goal late, did Baltimore 34-31. But if you look at the numbers last week, 36-13 first down edge, 89-52 offensive play edge, yardage edge of 500 to 318. Those were all the numbers in favor of Baltimore last week. Somehow that game was tied at 31. I can't figure how it did it, but I look for Miami to have their hands full with Baltimore this week. And we know all about Baltimore. There's no secret to it. It's all about Lamar Jackson. If he has a bad game, throws a couple picks, has a couple fumbles, then the opponent's going to be in there. But he can take control of a game by himself, and he's done that several times this year. And I think he does it here on Thursday Night Football. Miami, they got the win last week, but man, that was not impressive to me against Houston. I know Survivor guys got through. I know you were happy, Kelly, with Miami, and I'm kicking myself for not going game theory and using Miami. But with all the quarterback situation going on there involving both teams, Houston and Miami, I just couldn't pull the trigger, and we made the mistake of going with Buffalo, and you are the lone survivor. But for this one, I lean to Baltimore, but I definitely love Baltimore in teasers.
Marco, a wise man once told me, think long, think wrong. And that is what I'm glad I didn't do on Miami, because trust me, after the news came out about Tua, the line goes down. I'm going, oh God, what did I just do? I can't believe I took Miami in the Survivor. But for the most part, it was virtually no sweat. VR, Marco did mention both teams, neither were really that impressive. With this low total of 46, this is a prime Wong teaser. Is that where you're going on Thursday night?
110%. And I'm actually going to make it a premium play. I will use a teaser and release it to subscribers this week because I think Baltimore in that spot offers that much value. For those that want to bet it straight, this did get steamed. It got steamed at opener like 6.5, 7. You're seeing 7.5s. Do not buy. Let me explain it to you as simply as I can. 7.5 minus 105, where it's sitting at right now, is the same as getting -7 minus 120. Can you comprehend that? There is no difference in what you're betting. If I have a ticket that's -7.5 minus 105, you have a ticket -7 minus 120. They are the same bet, even though you're going to argue when it lands on 7, you're going to push and I'm going to lose. You laid minus 120 for the privilege. I'm talking long-term EV here. We're trying to be profitable sports bettors. We're not trying to hit the lottery on Sunday night. That's the goal here. So if you're going to bet this game, don't let that hook scare you at minus 105, especially if you're going to buy points. Because again, even at 7.5 minus 110, that would be like getting 7 minus 126, 27, like that, like laying minus 127, right around there. Less than 130 for sure. A little more than 125, a little less than minus 130. It's the same ticket. Like, don't at least know the math behind the bet. Again, that's so key for me. I'm going to use Baltimore. I can't understand this Miami team. Last week got lucky, saw some conflicting info and bought off of some of that Houston bet. saved myself and subscribers some money. Here's the problem with Miami. Look at the point spreads they've had for this season. They're a 2-win football team. And yet, except for when they were on the road at Buffalo, arguably best team in the AFC, at Tampa, arguably best team in the NFC, were the only times that they even got more than 4 points. This team's been favored throughout the season. Like, I just don't get it why the power rating for Miami is where it's at. And you just got to take advantage as long as it's off like that. Like, it looks square as anything, but I like the Baltimore side. No reason to even break into the metrics. Marco gave you the X's and O's. But yeah, I'm on Baltimore. I'm teasing it, but it's not because of that 7.5. That's why I shared that. It's because it just, like you said, with the total and going through 6, 7, 6, and 3 puts me in that plus EV spot that we live for as bettors.
I love it. That plus EV spot that we're all searching for. And that's what we're trying to do here on Bet is make you guys better. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's get on to Sunday night. Boy, does this one look fishy. AFC West matchup, Kansas City minus 2.5 total, 52. I did already tweet out that I was going to use the Raiders in a teaser this week. And this looks like a prime spot. I know the Raiders have a lot of off the field issues. Marco, we spoke about those last week. Now we got another one to add to the mix. Speaking of off the field issues, Kansas City has a lot on the field. And that's what concerns me here with them laying points on the road. Your thoughts on this AFC Sunday night matchup?
Yeah, Kelly, this one screams as primetime home dog to me with the Raiders. And this is one of the things that if you just look at the final scores from last week and look at how the games were, you would think, okay, Kansas City got a win. The Raiders stunk and lost on the road at the Giants. But if you watch the games or tore the box scores apart, honestly, they could have been flip-flopped. The Raiders should have won last week, and not because I had the Raiders. If you watched the game and saw the yardage and everything else, they were the better team on the field, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot with some Derek Carr mistakes. One of them was a pick six. And Kansas City, they got the win. They didn't get to cover. Green Bay managed to hang around long enough to get the backdoor cover there. But I'm looking at this one, and we know Kansas City has had their problems defensively all year. Now, the last couple weeks, their defense has played better. They've had some teams that maybe were offensively challenged. They caught a break last week, not having to face Aaron Rodgers. But my question with Kansas City is, what the hell happened to the offense? 3, 20, and 13 in the last 3 games? That's not Kansas City Chief football. And maybe it's because they had so many turnovers that they're, dialing things back and trying to be more conservative and protect the ball, and it's costing them. They're not scoring. They're going to need to score points because the Raiders will score points. This Raider offense, they're without, Ruggs, who we know the situation there, but they did sign somebody this week. And this is a team that had yardage last week. They had plenty of yards in the game against the Giants, and they'll have it here again. I like the Raiders. They look like a team that you should put on your teaser list as well. The only thing that I'll point out is it's not the true. It's the true by going through the numbers, but this is a higher total. So points are going to be more at a premium. That's the only thing to remember, that, you might get a little separation with Kansas City if they find that offense, but I don't think that's going to happen. So for me, I like the Raiders plus the points in the game, and I probably will also have Raiders in some teasers.
Marco makes a really great point about the totals in terms of being a true Wong teaser, and that is something I did discuss on Twitter as well. I do think that getting over a touchdown in a divisional game, especially at home, holds enough value for me to put it in a teaser here, as I've done every single week with a lot of other underdogs. VR, your thoughts on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, this has been a pass for me, just making that clear. So you manage your risk correctly. I like the under, and I'm seeing the line move in that direction. Again, now some of the value has been extracted if you agree with me, and it's probably why I haven't gotten to the window and probably won't. But it makes sense because it seems like the market's trying to correct itself, but because it's Kansas City, and especially this week playing a Vegas team, which is known for offense, they just don't have a choice because bettors are going to lean towards that over. But when you look at the Kansas City results, this is a team that's gone 4 straight unders, and yet the totals are still 3 out of the 4 of them were 53 or higher. Like, they're not even breaking 45 in any of those games. Only one of those games even cracked above 37 points, and yet they're putting totals still in the 50s, like it's Kansas City from last year or Kansas City from the year before. And I can't stress this enough, whether they score 100 points in this game or 0 points. I'm trying to share, again, information to help you be sharper bettors. This is something to look out for. It takes a while sometimes. We always brag about how efficient the betting markets are, especially in the NFL. But when we're so accustomed to seeing something happen, like one team being good or bad, or an over team or an under team for so long, that even if the market's flashing that the opposite's happening, it takes us a while before we're willing to change our opinions. And more importantly, actually back those opinions now with money. And going under on Kansas City, I think people are so afraid to do it, even though it's cashing tickets, because they just have such a long history of seeing them go over and putting up points. But I just think it's another case of what choice does the book have? Their job isn't to predict outcomes. The job of the odds maker is to protect their client, the book. And they're there to balance risk. They're not predicting outcomes, guys. And the way to balance risk for Kansas City is obviously putting those totals in the 50s and let the bettors bet over, and hopefully they keep going under. Why? If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. I like the under, but again, haven't gotten to the window.
Absolutely agree on that under as well. And that was part of the case that I made on Twitter. I thought the total was a little too high, so a little fraudulent, which is why I like the Raiders. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's time for some TNA and see who the guys have cooked up for their teasers for this week.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Welcome back to Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart. It is now time for the Stat Daddy himself. That's right. Let's get into some TNA with Mr. Ralph Michaels. Hey, Ralph. All right.
Hey,
so got lots to talk about this week. We're going to do a little rapid fire. And that is because, well, Buffalo lost as a double-digit favorite this week. And you and I talk about all the time how profitable double-digit favorites are. By the way, those unders got 2 of them again this week. So shout out to you for finding that trend. That has been absolute gold, as VR likes to say. Let's talk about this Buffalo Bills team and if they can bounce back this week.
Well, there haven't been many straight-up losses for teams that have been a double-digit favorite. I went back since 2010. So we have 12 seasons now. There have only been 26 straight-up losses. How have those teams done the week after a straight-up loss as a double-digit favorite? They've gone 16-9-1 against the spread, 64%. Only 3 times in the last 12 years has a team lost as a double-digit favorite and then been a double-digit favorite again this week, like Buffalo is to the New York Jets. Those teams, a perfect 3-0. Now, I know you guys are headed to Pittsburgh for Marco's birthday. And, Marco picked the Steelers game against Detroit because that's the only way he can guarantee that his Steelers are going to win a game. So, I wanted to look at how winless teams do when they have at least 7 losses. So we are talking 2 months into the season, you have 0 wins and you have 7, 8, 9, or 10 losses. Those teams, I actually thought they'd be a positive, Kelly. But if you just blindly bet 0-win teams with at least 7 losses, they have covered 44%. But listen to this when I break this down. If you are a winless team at home, you have only covered 38.5%. When you are a winless team on the road, you have covered 57%. So we take one number and we see that it's in the median range, But when we split out home and road dichotomies, we see a nice split. Again, winless teams, 38.5% on the road, 57.1% away. And then I wanted to look up how 5 and 4 teams did. In college football, bet on it. We talked about some teams that have one win or have their 7th loss and have guaranteed a losing season. So in the NFL, I wanted to look, we're in that 5 and 4 range. So when the 5 and 4 team is off a win and now they're a dog, this goes all the way back to 1997. So let me set the precedence. You were 4 and 4. You're off a win, so you got above 500. You are now 5 and 4, but yet you are an underdog. Those teams, 5 wins, 22 losses, only 18.5% against the spread. And those 5 and 4 teams have gone under the total 64% of the time. So if you find that 5 and 4 team off a win and they are now an underdog, again, it has been a solid play to fade that team and to the under. Is that something you would ever think about when you're handicapping the NFL, Kelly, looking at those types of records when you break down your cards?
No, Ralph, look, I try to just keep it as simple as humanly possible, right? I don't want to overreact in any form or fashion. Are there any 5 and 4 teams that did win last week that are a dog this week?
It is. Unfortunately, it's my Cleveland Browns heading to New England. So, again,
and the line has moved in their direction. I thought they were going to be a great teaser play, and guess who missed the boat there? I actually had a thought process that it might be Cleveland this week because I had them last week, and it was such one of those rocking chair winners. I love to see it. And so everybody, I guess, be careful when backing the Browns this week. If you don't want to get involved in the game, like Ralph said, the under 64%. I love that.
Yeah, well, now we're talking about the Browns. And again, 5 and 22 ATS. That's pretty strong. Not a huge sample size. But when we're talking the NFL since 97 and it's only a 19% clip, is that enough to keep me off of play? It is to a degree. How about good teams this late in the year, Kelly? 70% win mark from game 8 on. So you're at least 6 and 2 or 7 and 3 to get to a 70% win mark with at least 8 games played. It doesn't get easier than this, guys. You got a quality team this late in the year, win percentage of 70 or more, and they're off a loss. Period. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Dallas, and the Rams still are all at a win percentage of 70% now after a loss. Those teams, 60%. But a 60% mark's pretty good for something that simple. But listen to when I break it down. At home, win percentage of 70 or higher off a loss is 50%. So Dallas and Green Bay, 50-50 toss-ups. That means we're going to come up with a pretty good number with teams on the road. Teams on the road, off a loss that have a win percentage of 70% or higher, 30 ATS wins, 12 ATS losses. Keep your eye on Tampa Bay and the Rams this week, 71.4%. And I went one further, Kel. If they're off a loss as a home favorite and now on the road like the Rams are, 83.3% on the LA Rams. So Tampa Bay and the Rams, 71.4% system, and the Rams themselves off a loss as a home favorite in an 83.3% system. Of all those we talked about, Kelly, that to me is one of the cleanest and the most logical when you're trying to explain that type of team to me. And I'm going to finish it off with one more, and you mentioned it earlier, Kelly. On Twitter, there's a bunch of guys that have followed this system, and it's been a little vague because they say, oh, God, when there's double-digit favorites, you bet the under, and it's been amazing. We could even sneak a few more points into there, Kelly. If you are a division, first of all, if you are a double-digit team, if you're a double-digit favorite, we have been to the under 60.5%. So, yeah, a double-digit away favorite, 60.5%. If you're a division away favorite of 8 or more, like Buffalo is against the New York Jets, 9 overs, 31 unders, that is 68% to the under. So keep an eye on that Buffalo New York Jets total. Division away favorites, 8.5 or more, 67.9% to the under.
Things you love to see. Shout out to Ralph. Make sure you guys are giving Ralph a follow on Twitter at CalSportsLV. He comes up with all sorts of charts, all sorts of great data. Ralph, we appreciate you. All right. Well, guys, I am the lone survivor here, so I guess I'll give a survivor pick before we bring back in the guys for their teasers for this week. I am going to Pittsburgh, as Ralph alluded to, for Marco's 60th birthday, and I just hope his Steelers can deliver him a nice birthday present and get him a W, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be my survivor pick for this week, because hell, why wouldn't I want to see my big-time survivor pool go down in flames live in person?
Like our videos, then subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you'll always be the first to know when there's new content available.
All right, I already gave you one of my teaser legs. The other one is going to be the Minnesota Vikings plus 8.5. As we mentioned, you could have used the Ravens as well this week. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. I'm really curious to see who you picked for this week's teaser.
Well, Kelly, I love this week's teaser, and we already talked the first half of it. It is the Baltimore Ravens. That's a no-brainer to me. And although there are a ton of options that we could do with the teasers, you mentioned them. You got Minnesota, you got the Raiders. The one I'm landing on, though, is the Cleveland Browns. And to me, that is the true Wong teaser, because we're going through all the key numbers and do it quickly, because we're seeing this line start to come down. It's at 1.5 right now, which means we got to get that 6-point teaser to get us through the 3, the 4, the 6, the 7. And, oh, by the way, it's a game with a low total. It's in the 40s. We're looking at a total of 45, making it the no-brainer. We're going little AFC North teaser. Baltimore, Cleveland gets the money. That's the teaser for me this week. And that'll be one that the clients will get as well.
You are right. There are a lot of options this week. This Browns team, though, has me really nervous. And then coupled with what Ralph just said, as a Browns fan, I'm so scared. I bet against Bill Belichick last week. This week, I can take the over the touchdown. I think Marco has the right side there with the Browns. VR, are you in agreement with Marco, or who is your teaser for this week?
We have a ton of options this week. Ton of options. This is the one I like the most, but the only DraftKings has the number. I see a Heritage number. I'm waiting for more books to get there because I'm using Tampa. I already told you that. And I want to tie in Dallas on the other side. I want Dallas 2.5, and I'm firing. Now, I could do that right away now. It's up there. But there's not enough of them for me to release it to subscribers, or else that would be the pick. Like, meaning if there was more 8.5s on the board, it would already be my teaser for the play, because I would release it to subscribers as a best bet, actually. But it's not. It's at 9, and that only gets me to 6, to -3. And again, it's not at that point plus EV. I like Minnesota, but here's another one where I could get 3. So it takes away from it. That's the problem. That even with the Minnesota side, sure, Penny has 2.5 -124, but that's 3 even money. I mean, come on. So I can't go there either. Again, I'm going to give you not a plus EV teaser. If it gets the 2.5, then no. 8.5, then no, I fired. If not, use it as you want, and they're going to grade me win or lose regardless. So I will use the best one that I like. And again, that's Baltimore with Baltimore -1.5 or so, and Dallas down to -3, since they're mostly 9 across the board. But again, I'm putting it in at 8.5 or better, or not putting it in at all. But
no, VR, I think you're absolutely right. The Cowboys was a side that I didn't even look at here. Kind of crazy. I should have realized, off that terrible loss to my Denver Broncos, just getting them under a field goal here. And there are plenty of 2.5s available in the teaser spot. Like VR said, they're going to open up, but keep in mind, some books will stay above to protect themselves in that teaser situation. So look for those Cowboys 8.5 under a field goal. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, is the deli back open? We know we've got that steam game and, of course, some barking dogs.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome back to Bet On It. And I'm going to have to get Marco one of those really doofy chef's hats and maybe like a bowl and a whisk because he is baking up some bread at the deli this week. I love it. Deli is my favorite segment. I can always say it's barking dogs. I lied. I'm always hungry at this time in the afternoon. Marco, who's the sandwich spot of the week?
Well, Kelly, we got a special sandwich this week. I mean, we could have all kinds of different sandwiches, but there is only one sandwich we're serving in the deli this week. Bring it on. I want a Philly cheesesteak this week.
I hate to tell you this, guys, but I'm passing in this game too, and I'll tell you why.
Bring on the cheesesteak, and guys, I hope I see the line going against me on this game. I hope I see Denver money flying in because you know what? If you've been watching the betting board the last 3 weeks, they have been absolutely wrong. Whoever's betting the Philadelphia Eagle games. You looked 3 weeks ago, they were here in Vegas against the Raiders. We saw that line go from them being a 3-point underdog to closing at pick 'em in that game, and they just got throttled. Then 2 weeks ago, they went to Detroit. Everybody in the world, all those same people that bet Philadelphia the week before, now we're betting the Lions like they had tomorrow's newspaper today. And, well, that didn't work out so well for the Lions. Philadelphia got the job done. So last week, what happened? They bet Philadelphia again. They jumped sides again, got back on the Philadelphia bandwagon against the Chargers. I was on the other side, held on. It wasn't pretty, but we got the money with the Chargers. Now this week, I'll jump on Philadelphia. And why? Well, not so much just Philadelphia, but I got to look at Denver. They got to be fat and sassy. They are coming off, going in to Dallas and beating the Cowboys. But let's face it, they caught the Cowboys at the right time. You want to talk about fat and sassy? How about the Cowboys winning on Sunday Night Football with Cooper Rush the week before? They couldn't have caught them at a better time, and Denver got the job done. Now it's Denver returning home. And although they do have a bye week next week, this is a sandwich spot coming off the Cowboys, and they got that big AFC West showdown with the Chargers on deck. I like Philadelphia here. And the difference for Philadelphia in the last 3 weeks that has made them more competitive, sans the Raiders game, is this team can run the football. They've been running the football the last 3 weeks, 135 on the ground, 236, 176. You get that kind of offensive ground game going, that opens things up for the quarterback in Hurts to make some big plays downfield off of play action. I think they get the win here. I'm going to go ahead and take Philadelphia. We're going to call it 24-20, Philly outright, do a little sprinkle. The sandwich shop is open. Take that Philly cheesesteak.
Marco with the dagger reminding me about my best CLV trophy this year. Eagles +3, dead in the water before it even kicked off. And you're right, that's exactly what they did last week. Though they did have a chance at least to beat the Chargers this time because they had no shot at beating the Raiders in that one. VR, the steam game of the week just keeps on rolling. Who do we have?
We're going to go ahead and take a double-digit dog, that home dog that's now dropping to 9.5, where you're going to have to pay juice to get that 10, and that's the Washington Redskins. Now, I haven't gotten to the window yet with that one. I did with 2 other NFL that I'll share, but it does make sense. I mean, this is a spot where Washington should be able to keep it closer than you would think. Tampa's got some injuries to deal with on the offensive side of the ball this week, especially on where they're going to throw the football. You got Goodwin, Brown, Gronkowski, all of them questionable. even if they go, they're not 100%. You already know Miller's on IR and Watson you lost. They don't have much on that bench to throw to. That is going to help Washington a lot because I think Washington's going to be able to do good against the run in this matchup. And I think they're going to force Tampa to have to beat them throwing the football. And without those weapons, covering double digits is going to be difficult. As long as Washington's able to slow the game down by running the football successfully. They rushed for 4.6 yards per rush attempt. A lot better than the NFL average. And as good as Tampa's D has been, I think we'll have Washington have some success there. Wise Guys took the points with the Skins. Again, I haven't gotten to the window yet. We've been doing a lot of stuff with college basketball that just started. There's plenty of days between now and Sunday. Still some college basketball ahead. But that's definitely a sharp play. Washington plus the 9.5, I guess, or 10 juice for Steam this week.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I appreciate the fact that we might be able to tease the Bucs at some locations. The bookmakers have already put themselves in a position for most of us not to be able to do so. I do like the Washington football team as well this week. Is it going to make my card? You guys are going to have to wait and find out. VR, I'm actually going to kick it right back to you for this week's Barking Dog.
All right. And this is called a best bet, a barking dog. Now, I didn't put it in the best bet slot because it was the last week best bet. And like I said, the bet, same size bets pretty much. Maybe this one, the dog maybe is the bet. I have more on the dog because you'll see why on the best bet so far. And it's the New Orleans Saints. Here's what I realized immediately last week when I was on the wrong side. That it's probably, with this situation, till it irons itself out, is a team I want to back in the dog spot, not lay points with. That was a rookie mistake I made, and I paid for it. Like I say, I go back and always look at my work. Even if the market moves with me, that doesn't mean I was necessarily right. And I think in that instance, that was the case. Shouldn't have been so comfortable laying that many points with the situation. But, hindsight's always perfect. But I just think Tennessee coming into this one, especially beating the Rams as 7-point dogs, more importantly, having won 5 straight games, 4 in a row as underdogs, you're going to be overvalued in the betting market. That's just fact. And the best I could ever hope for as a sports bettor is that I'm getting the best of it, meaning more points than I should, better odds than I should, 2-1 on a coin flip, that kind of shit. And right now, I can tell you, power rating wise, these teams just are not that far off, believe it or not, even with the quarterback situation. I like the Saints plus the points. I don't think we're going to need them at all. It's got sprinkled dog written all over it. But of course, it's a key number. I released it to subscribers at 3, I think minus 115 for a 4% play. Use it as you will. Go Saints.
Go Saints. Indeed. I think this is a good buy low spot after losing to their divisional rival at home, the Falcons last week. Titans, of course, off that Monday Night Football win over the Rams. Their stock couldn't be higher. Marco, I know you've got a nice, sizable underdog for me this week that's going to pull off the upset.
Well, Kelly, it's not a real big underdog, but I think the magnitude of it is going to be there because of who they're playing. And we're going to take a look at the Saints as they go play the Tennessee Titans. And right now, flavor of the month sitting at, what are they, 7-2, the Tennessee Titans. You look at what they've done the last 4 weeks. Their stock couldn't be any higher, even though they lost Derrick Henry last week. Gone for a sizable period of time. That didn't matter. They got the job done. Or did they? No, they really didn't. That was Matthew Stafford in some of the worst throws I have ever seen a quarterback throw. That one where he spun around in the end zone and just threw the ball in the middle of the field right to a Tennessee Titan, setting up a 2-yard touchdown drive. That was fun for my Rams teaser. I know you had the Rams on a teaser too, Kelly, and couldn't appreciate that play. But I'm looking at Tennessee, and this is all about going against Tennessee. They have had 4 monster games in a row. It started with the Buffalo Bills on that Monday night game. Then they played Kansas City, playoff revenge game, got the job done in commanding fashion, 27-3. Then they went on the road and played Indianapolis. That was a game that virtually locked up the division for them because it gave them a 3-game lead, which actually was 4 with the tiebreaker because they had already played Indianapolis earlier in the year and beat them. And then nobody gave them a shot going out on the road without Derrick Henry playing on Sunday night to the Rams, who just signed Von Miller and looked like, punching their ticket to the Super Bowl. Well, what happened? They won again. This is all about fading Tennessee. If they can bring it for a 5th straight week, God bless them. But it's also part 2 of the injured player theory. We've been talking about the injured player theory all year, and it has been as good as gold. I haven't seen a season that it has hit at this rate as it has this year. But there's a part 2 to the injured player theory. When that injured team gets the job done first week without the star player, I like to go against them in the second week because now they don't have that same intensity. They got the win. They know that, hey, we're going to be okay. We showed we could win without them, and they have a little bit of a letdown that following week. Couple that with everything I just said about their schedule, I got to take the Saints. And you're looking at a Saints team. They're the better defense. You've got a coach I like better, Sean Payton, coming off an ugly loss. But really, that was to be expected. They just beat Tampa Bay the week before in monstrous fashion. A letdown was in order. I didn't think that they would lose outright, but I thought they'd have trouble covering the spread. They did. They lost the game to Atlanta. This week, they get the job done. I like New Orleans. They win this one outright. 27-20. Take the Saints is my barking dog, and do a little sprinkle.
All right. All of us in agreement here with the Saints. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but then it is time for Best Bets.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com. Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Welcome back to Bet On It. And before I let VR give out some of his gold, I'm going to give you guys some of mine. 34-17 against the spread as Vikings head coach. That's right. We're back. Me and Coach Zimmer are going steady again. My favorite coach in the NFL is once again. And why? Because this team gets a lot of grief, but this team has been really solid, especially in one-score games. Let's flip it on the other side. What do we know about this Chargers team? Yes, Marco had them last week. Congrats to him for cashing that ticket. But boy, did they struggle against a mediocre Eagles team. And they struggled several times this year. And I think really what we're seeing here is defensive coordinators have really started to figure them out. No disrespect to Justin Herbert, but I think we're seeing his stock downturn for that very reason. I will take the better defense here with the Vikings plus the points. Yes, it scares the shit out of me that they're on the road, but you know what? Half that stadium will be Vikings fans per usual. Marco, who is your best bet for this week?
Oh, Kelly, before I get to my best bet, I couldn't help just listening to you and talking about Coach Zimmer and giving all the old heart and all that. I just had this vision of you Sunday night after the scores are done. It's like, maybe 12:30, 1 a.m. You may have had a couple glasses of wine, celebrate the weekend, and a drunken text to Coach Zimmer. And it had to go something like this. We had a good thing, when we were good, it was good. Just Kelly, no drunk text. Don't do it. But I can't disagree with you on Minnesota and Coach Zimmer, but you guys are a cute couple. On to my best bet for this week. And it is, I had to remember who my best bet is after that sidetrack I just had there with you. It's the Dallas Cowboys. This is a spot here where we're going to get the Cowboys. They are going to be in one foul mood this week after they laid a colossal egg last Sunday. Just when I started to give Coach McCarthy some credit, he's got this Dallas team going in the right direction. Everything's clicking. Well, we saw a Mike McCarthy type game, and nothing went right. And they fell behind early, had to abandon the run, and everything went sideways after that. But they bounced back in a big way. Why? Because they were fat and sassy last week. And the best thing for a team that was fat and sassy is to get kicked below the belt. And they sure did last week. That'll get your attention. And we're going to go against Atlanta as well. This Falcons team's not good. Don't be confused by the win last week. They caught the Saints at the absolute perfect time, coming off a satisfying win against Tampa Bay. And while we're speaking about Atlanta, coming off that big win puts them in a bad spot here. What puts them in an even worse spot is, what does Atlanta have up next? Well, they've got a Thursday night football game. And we know, we talk about it with these teams, they enjoy playing the standalone games because they get to play in front of all their peers. There's no other NFL game. Whether you're playing the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, or the Monday night game, all eyes are on you, and it will be on them come Thursday. So quick turnaround for them, that's a huge disadvantage as well. I'll take Dallas. I think they roll over this defense of Atlanta. I don't see Atlanta being able to stop them. Dallas, number 3 in the NFL in points per game at 30 points per game. Atlanta's number 21 at 21.9. But the bigger stat, and this is, to me, is the most important stat when you're looking at offensive numbers, yards per play. Dallas is number 1 in the NFL, 6.5 yards per play. In Atlanta, 24. There's a difference of a yard every time the ball is snapped in this game. I like Dallas. We'll go ahead, lay the points with them. I know VR was looking to get them with the right number with the teaser. Ace, you don't have to worry about it. They're not going to need those points. They roll big this week. 38-23, take the Cowboys.
Marco might be right about a Cowboys bounce back, but boy, is he wrong about me and Coach Zimmer. I'm way too old for that man. Have you not seen his girlfriend? You need to get on Google and check it out. That being said, VR, your best bet got to the window last week. Who are we going with this week? And do you have any gold you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, first let me give a little bit of gold, but you're going to have to go down there and do us the solid. As I touched on in college football, we don't ask for much. Simply go down, hit that like button so we know that you appreciate the job we're doing. Whether you agree, disagree, follow, or fade, you're watching it, obviously. So give us that satisfaction of saying, dude, you got up, you're putting in the work. Let me hit that like for you, and I'll give you as much gold as I possibly can. But if you can't even do that for me, like really? Okay, bottom line is this. All the betting syndicates are so excited because college basketball, excuse me. And when there's volatility in any market, that's when the sharks dive in. That's what makes it the most beatable. That's why the top traders in equities went into crypto, because the volatility is there to make money. Same thing now with college basketball. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see I shared some gold yesterday. That was one page. I passed that on, I think, 11 in the morning. There was 3 more pages of games that they were firing. I narrowed it down to like 2 best bets and a handful of other sides. So I'll share what I can, but you got to figure out what you agree with, what you disagree with. And like I said, show us some love, and all of this would have been passed over. Instead, here's what we got this week, Kelly. First off, for round 1 golf, it's only a first round matchup. Adam Scott, 7-1-1-4, minus 105 against Patrick Reed. That's Scott versus Reed. Only to win round one of the Houston Open. The basketball won't get out in time, no chance. The soccer won't get out in time. Here, a little college football. Florida State passed up the points. They bet the money line. Miami. We'll see if they're right there. I gave you Ohio State. NC State at 3. Be cautious. I saw some resistance when it dropped. Not sure if that's going to get set up, but NC State off that key 3 is definitely sharp. There's not all that much. Like I said, gonna have to hit that like button to get into the deeper, Bitcoin, Ethereum type gold in sports. So it's on you. We'll check back. I'll look at that like and the comments, see how they did. Oh, best bet. I'm gonna do you a favor. It's Monday night, so when Monday comes, you won't even have to hear me talk. Maybe I'll rant or something. To me, it's a best bet. So up till Wednesday, this is what I love. I love San Francisco in this spot. Coming off that loss against Arizona, number 1, I thought they were going to be undervalued. Again, that doesn't mean you're going to cash a ticket, but it means the line should be shaded towards that bias, especially when Arizona didn't have their starting quarterback and San Francisco got steamed from an underdog all the way to a 5.5, 6-point favorite by kickoff. Couple that with having lost, 5 of their last 6 games, not straight up only, but ATS. And you're saying, Ace, what are you betting them for? Are they due? Absolutely not. Nothing could be further from the truth. Are you fading the public? No, I'm not a bookmaker. I'm not getting 11 to 10. Why the hell would I fade the public? Here's why. Look at San Francisco's betting lines this year. They've been an underdog one time. That was it. And that was on the road in divisional play against a fully healthy Arizona. You're giving me past that key number at home against this Rams team? That they haven't been outperforming the betting market. Sure, they've won a couple games in a row, except for last week, but they were 17-point favorites against Houston. They were 17-point favorites against Detroit. They were 8-point favorites against the Giants. Yeah, you're supposed to win those games, but they didn't even cover 2 of those 3 I just mentioned, including last week where they lost outright. Give me San Francisco on Monday Night Football plus the 4 more than that key number. Dude, this should be below the key number, and I could see maybe bettors betting it up to the key 3, but you're opening it past the key number and letting this, hopefully Squares bet it up more, I hope. But I think anyone sharp's going to see at least the line value on San Francisco. Give me the Niners, best bet plus 4. Hopefully I stay above 500 and keep that blue background. Don't want it going back to that wall. But we'll see.
Oh, VR. That is too funny because you and I look like we're in freaking Life Touch photos. So that being said, we're going to take our last commercial break before we come back for the recap.
Why pay regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of bettor, from as low as $90 gets $100, all the way up to $3,500 gets you $5,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.
Welcome back to Bet On It. Let's go over the recap. Look at this beautiful graphic our producer Will puts up for us every single week. Shout out to Will. Thursday Night Football, Baltimore. Everybody said put them in a teaser. That makes the most sense. Sunday Night Football, VR likes that under. Marco agrees with me on the Raiders. I put the Raiders in a teaser. Speaking of teasers, Baltimore, Minnesota for VR, Cleveland, Baltimore for Marco. And I am the lone survivor. So let's just hope Marco's Pittsburgh Steelers don't ruin his birthday party and can get us the goddamn W on Sunday. Steam game of the week, Washington football team plus 10. Sandwich, Marco said he's going to Denver and taking the 3 with the Philadelphia Eagles. And if he was still alive, he would be taking Baltimore in Survivor. Barking Dogs, all 3 of us like the New Orleans Saints plus 3. My best bet is the Minnesota Vikings and the love of my life, Coach Zimmer. Best bet for VR says super undervalued Niners plus 4 on Monday night is the play. And Marco says Last week was kind of a fluke for the Dallas Cowboys. Lay the 9. Thank you guys for hanging out with us each and every Wednesday. We hope you enjoy those barking dogs, that goal, these teasers, those steam plays, as well as the deli being back open in college football and NFL. I can finally go eat my lunch. You guys have a great one from Ralph, Marco, VR, and myself. Until next week, let's bet on it.